This is my killer DVD system. Twin wave laser pickup, progressive scan output, 42 inches, 300 watts.
Want to get even more out of your DVD system? Get
Tonight, first at 10, California in the dark. A second day of blackouts caused by the power crunch. And tonight, Oregon's power supply is also falling fast.
The dangerous bacteria meningococcus strikes yet another local baby. This time, the results are deadly. Tonight, a mother's warning to other parents.
And a loaded big rig leads police on a high-speed chase. See the topsy-turvy end. It's 10 o'clock.
Live, Kurt Ludlow, Shauna Parsons, meteorologist Rod Hill, and Tim Becker Sports. This is the 10 o'clock news.
Good evening. For the second night in a row, rolling blackouts in California. The power crunch is getting worse, and there is no end in sight.
Meanwhile, the Northwest is starting to feel the pain of the situation. KPTV's David Wilson joins us now live from a power substation in southeast Portland with the latest. Dave?
Well, you guys, it's raining like crazy out here tonight, and of course, that's great news because the more water we have in the Columbia River, the more power we can generate for everybody up here in the Northwest. Of course, down in California, they can't buy enough or make enough to go around. Around 1.8 million Californians flicked on their lights and had no power today. Aside from personal inconveniences, the economic damage from the power crisis seems immense.
We need electricity basically to be able to run a business. Well, losing money. I'm losing money.
The blackouts hit Northern California the hardest, but stretch clear to Bakersfield. The power outages have cost the Miller Brewing Company in the Golden State a bundle.
In the past 6 months, however, as of this morning, we've been interrupted 22 times. Those interruptions have become quite expensive.
California's leaders are frantically attempting to find cheaper power to buy and hope for now the blackouts are over.
We have the power, but we have to operate the system aggressively to get it.
In the Northwest, the Bonneville Power Administration can no longer afford to buy power, so the BPA has cranked up its generators at Columbia River dams to meet demand.
By turning up the throttle, if you will, on the hydro system, we're taking water out of the reservoirs that we would rather have for the spring for both power requirements and for fish.
The federal government has minimum river flow requirements in the spring so juvenile salmon and steelhead can move safely downstream. Unless we get buckets of rain soon, the BPA will fall short of the federal flow standards required for fish. One reason? This week, the Northwest ran 1,000 megawatts short of power.
That's a lot of power. That's about the output of Bonneville Dam.
1,000 average megawatts is enough to light the entire city of Seattle for almost 1 year. The BPA says tremendous growth along the West Coast over the last decade is mainly to blame for our power crunch, and that this year's lack of rain has forced everyone to face the inadequacies of our power generating system. Now, the BPA spent $50 million this week trying to buy enough power to go around, and they simply could not afford it. That is why they decided to open up the reservoirs to try to generate more power. And, of course, as we draw down those reservoirs, that gives us more problems possibly this summer if we don't get enough rain as far as the power situation, and, of course, this spring as far as the fish situation.
All right, David Wilson live tonight. Thank you, Dave.
Well, while we are all supposed to be conserving power, you probably noticed that many of the large buildings around town leave their lights on after the workday. And ironically enough, this is one of them, a live look at the Bonneville Power Administration building. The BPA says its building is like many others around town. Its lighting and heating systems are connected. In essence, to shut off the lights, you shut down the entire building. And once you do, it's pretty complicated to get things up and running again. The BPA says its employees are doing what they can to conserve power.
Well, some local companies were conserving long before this latest power crunch. Standard TV and Appliance already has an ongoing promotion with Energy Star that encourages customers to trade out old appliances for modern units that use a lot less power. As for internal saving measures, a new thermostating system at the store in southeast Portland is programmed to lower the heat at night when everyone has gone home. And outside the store, 8,000 bulbs and a reader board were exchanged with bulbs that use 30% less energy.
Others are helping out by buying renewable energy sources. TriMet is continuing to buy wind energy and salmon-friendly power from PGE and Pacific Power to run its light rail trains. Renewable energy is generated from clean resources and has a lower impact on the environment. TriMet is one of nearly 200 businesses that are part of PGE's renewable power program. No telling if or when the situation will get any better in California and here in the Northwest, so be sure to keep it right here on the 10 o'clock news for continuing coverage of the power crunch situation.
Tonight, meningococcal disease strikes again in Oregon. This time, a 7-month-old baby girl from McMinnville has died of the disease. And her devastated parents want others to know just how fast the bacteria can strike.
She was just starting to eat food, and she was just starting to crawl around and get up and pull up on things, and she was just fine right before this. It just makes no sense.
On Monday night, Cheryl Dado's baby daughter Jasmine was a little fussy and felt a little warm, so Cheryl gave her some Tylenol. After that, Jasmine seemed happy, but by early Tuesday morning, things had changed.
Woke up and she didn't seem very good, and we turned on the light, and that's when we saw the spots all over. I thought it was chicken pox or something along them lines when I saw the spots.
That's when she and her husband, Moises Sandoval, took their little girl to the hospital.
The 20-minute ride over to the hospital, you know, she just changed. Her coloring changed. Her hands and feet started getting purple in just that short amount of time to get from here to Newburgh.
They say doctors knew instantly meningococcal disease was to blame.
It came so fast, and I don't know. We were told this was the worst case he had ever seen, so I don't know why it flooded her body so much. But her lungs, you know, were failing, and her heart, within the short period of time that it took us to get to the hospital.
Cheryl and Moises say they're confused. How could this have happened to their healthy, happy baby girl? They had heard of the disease, had even seen news reports about the other recent McMinnville victims, like little Tristan Joseph, who lost parts of his fingers and his legs below the knees. But Cheryl never imagined it would strike her Jasmine.
She wasn't in daycare, and I didn't, you know, I stayed at home with her. She didn't go very many places. That didn't occur to me.
Now they're telling their story as a warning to other parents.
If we could just stop this from happening to another baby.
And all they have left of their daughter are pictures of her smiling face and their memories.
My initial thought was, I want her back. I want to wake up. I want her back. And I still want her back. And that's not going to happen. But I can't help but say it again. I want her back.
It reminds me my little Jasmine.
Jasmine Sandoval is the first person to die of the disease in Yamhill County since 1994, but there have been several other cases in that county recently. Last year, 9 people got the disease. So far this year, 2 more cases have been diagnosed. Now, the most important symptom to look for, the sudden onset of a fever and the appearance of small, dark spots that don't disappear when they're pressed gently with a finger.
There is a rare case of measles tonight in Washington County, a 1-year-old. The Oregon Health Division says it's the first measles outbreak since 1999. Measles is transmitted through the air and is highly contagious. Symptoms include a cough, runny nose, fever, followed by a blotchy rash. If you think you might have the measles, notify your doctor. A Vancouver man says someone stole his disabled son's custom-built wheelchair. Little Ian Harris has infantile Refsum disease. He's almost completely blind, deaf, and can't walk very well. His dad left the wheelchair outside his house briefly to carry Ian to the bus, but when he came outside, it was gone. John says whoever did this has no idea what they've done.
Just shut him and me down in a lot of ways. I mean, it won't shut us down in any kind of essential ways. It won't prevent him from going to school and whatnot, but it's going to prevent a lot of the things that we normally do.
That chair cost the Harrises nearly $1,200. It looks like an oversized stroller. If you have any information, please call the Clark County Sheriff's Office, the number 360-397-6008.
A Gresham woman has confessed to murdering her husband, this after maintaining her innocence for nearly 2 years. Today, 36-year-old Carolyn Exum pleaded guilty to murdering her husband and was sentenced to 25 years in prison. In March of 1999, William Exum was found beaten to death in their Gresham home. Carolyn Exum was also found on the scene with head injuries. Well, she confessed that she and her boyfriend, Alan Browning, murdered her husband and faked her injuries. Browning pleaded guilty last fall and is already serving a 25-year sentence. New DNA evidence may be the key to a new trial for a convicted murderer. Frank Gable was convicted of the 1989 stabbing death of Oregon Corrections Director Michael Franke. But DNA from saliva found on the victim's coat does not belong to Gable. Experts say the DNA was genetically similar to Franke's and could have come from his baby son, who was 15 months old when his father was murdered. Gable asked for the genetic testing in hopes of getting a new trial.
Last night we told you Representative Betsy Close of Albany wants a copy of the 10 Commandments posted in every public school in Oregon. We asked you if you thought that should be posted in schools. Here's how you answered our 12 Talkback online poll. 58% of you said yes, post the 10 Commandments. 41% said no. Well, the report cards are out on all of Oregon's public schools tonight, and the news is good. The state says most schools have improved. KPTV's Jim Hyde reports not everyone's convinced the report cards give a clear picture of public education in Oregon.
Cecilia, what's the climate?
Damp.
Damp.
Cornelius Elementary impressed the State Department of Ed like no other school in Oregon, leaping from a poor rating to exceptional, the equivalent of going from a D letter grade to an A.
We teach students how to read in Spanish first, and then they make the transition to English just very quickly because they understand the reading concept. So we're taking their strong suit and doing that. So our continuous progress reading, then we're doing continuous progress math.
Principal also credits a bright bunch of fourth graders and focus on the mechanics of taking the state tests for the improvement.
Our schools in Oregon improve their work so much.
The state superintendent congratulated Cornelius' student body, 60% of which is Hispanic. His ratings report card system is based on student performance on the tests, attendance and dropout rate, and percentage of students in school taking the test.
We're finding that schools are focusing on kids. They call in and say, can we count this GED for this student to get it in the dropout portion?
So think past just being a storyteller.
Cleveland High in southeast Portland made a dramatic looking improvement. Low last year, strong now, students noticed.
I think people started to care more just because it made us look bad.
As an attempt to create an impression of every school, Cleveland's principal sees the state report card as a work in progress.
Our students have made significant progress each year over the last 4 years. And so we haven't made significant changes because of our rating last year. We knew we were a good school, and we knew we were doing the right things, so we've continued to do that. Just this year we made sure we reported correctly.
Some special ed and second language students can be exempt from testing.
We still have some reservations about people misunderstanding the ratings and putting too much emphasis on one single rating. But clearly, I'm very pleased and very proud of the hard work that the students, the staff.
North Portland's Jefferson High improved from unacceptable to low, but Roosevelt slumped from satisfactory to low. And the state will continue to demand the 3 R's and an A for accountability. Jim Hyde, the 10 o'clock news.
Only 2 Oregon schools are considered unacceptable. Both are alternative schools, the AIM School in the David Douglas District and Centennial Learning Center in the Centennial School District. Other schools undergoing major changes, such as Southeast Portland's Marshall High, are listed as in progress. 3 Portland public schools moved up to exceptional, Marysville and Wilcox Elementary and the Environmental Middle School. And the report card says the best elementary school is Holyrood School in Northeast Portland, exceptional in the first rating and again this year. You may check the report on any Oregon public school on the web. Go to reportcard.ode.state.or.us or take the easy way out. Go to our website, Oregons12.com, for a link.
Coming up, Reverend Jesse Jackson caught up in a scandal tonight. His shocking admission at 10:46.
Also, factory workers outraged. Men discover a hidden camera in their bathroom at 10:47.
Plus, getting out of debt without getting in trouble. I-Team 12 helps you avoid bad tricks when you're looking for a loan at 10:15.
We finally have some rain in the Portland area here on the weather deck. It's coming down. So far, 0.02 inches in the rain gauge. The high today in Portland, 42, and the low temperature, 37 degrees. That's also our current temperature outside right now. My forecast will tell you how long to expect the rainfall. That's coming up at 10:28.
I'm Ken Ackerman.
And I'm Kimberly Moss. Tomorrow, a true medical breakthrough made right here in Oregon.
It's called the Splint, and also 2 chances to win a 6-month membership to Resort to Fitness tomorrow.
The Build, Remodel, and Landscape Show is coming this Friday through Sunday. Meet the top remodelers and home improvement experts at the Portland Memorial Coliseum next to the Rose Garden, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only.
8 years ago, we got a homicide. Same MO, same victim profile.
Who did this?
We intend to find out.
Do you promise me that you will?
Detective Jerry Black made a promise he can't break.
You could expect another incident.
To catch a killer he can't find.
I made a promise.
Jack Nicholson.
You gotta get a hold of yourself.
In a Sean Penn film.
This guy is real and I know it.
The Pledge, rated R, starts tomorrow at a theater near you.
S is for special. Special like you. Hamilton, my love.
Ball comes loose and
With AT&T high-speed cable internet service, you don't just use the internet, you experience it. Nothing moves you like the speed of AT&T at home. Go cable, go faster. Get free installation and your first 6 months at $19.95 per month.
While most people struggle just to get through the winter, Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo owners seem to get over it pretty easily. Check one out at your Jeep dealer.
At H&R Block, we know our way around complicated returns.
Darn, non-deductible employee expense. We do more complex returns than any CPA. To think I almost went into medicine.
Pick up any newspaper and you're bound to see ads promising low-interest consolidation loans.
Trouble is, you can't always be sure what you see is what you'll get. I-Team 12's Carrie Tomlinson is here to show us what to look for. Carrie?
Well, we can talk about the red flags for these loans. For example, if they ask you for money before you get the loan, that's a sign that it could be a scam. However, money management experts say, hold on, those red flags won't do you any good if you've gotten to the point where you need the money so badly that you're willing to overlook even the most obvious warning signs.
Remember this?
Grundy, no fat vanilla lattes?
Maybe you had one this morning, or yesterday, or the day before. These cups may hold the secret to fixing your finances.
Thank you.
How?
I guess I'm an easy target.
Learn by watching the story of Scott Gray of Salem.
I would never do this to somebody. I couldn't.
He had trouble, not with a latte, but with a loan.
I've talked to people around here, and they all say the same thing, because my credit is so bad that they won't let me, nobody will give me a loan.
But this company would. Hudson and Blake, advertising in the classified section of the Salem paper, giving loans over the phone.
So my wife and I talked about it, and I said, you know, I don't have nothing. And she goes, but what if this is real? And we could be getting our bills paid off, and, you know, this would be so great.
They sent in their first installment, more than $700, the rent and car payment for the month, and then waited for the loan check.
And we waited in the cold until the mail finally got there, and I ran over there, and nothing. And you think, how stupid can I be?
But money management experts say it's not so much stupid as desperate.
When we're desperate, we like to believe a lot of things that may not be true.
Rich Reiner is with Solutions, a credit counseling service in the Clackamas area.
And of course, marketers know what you want to hear.
He says you can watch out for loan scams, but better yet, solve your money problems so you won't be so easily ripped off.
Being in debt is being out of control, for the most part. So what you need to do is to find ways to get you back into control.
That's where the coffee comes in. It could be what Rich Reiner calls lost money.
Follow your money around. Where does it go?
Reiner says it's easy to follow your big expenses, like rent and car payments. It's the flexible ones that disappear. Cappuccinos, ATM withdrawals, change from cashing a check. He says once you start tracking these expenses, you could find $50 to $300 of lost money every month. Then make a long-term plan and focus on your goals.
You've got to change behavior patterns if you're going to get out of debt and stay out of debt and not put yourself into situations where you do desperate behaviors.
We still haven't been able to get caught up on anything. We got so far behind, and still nothing.
Scott Gray is going in for financial counseling now. The next time he checks the classifieds, he will remember more than just lattes and ATM withdrawals. He'll remember this, how he talked himself into a scam out of desperation.
You get that excitement of, oh, maybe we can get ahead, and you do it anyways, and your mind tells you, go ahead, do it, because it's a good thing. You just know it is.
Credit counseling experts tell us the first problem they see all the time is denial. And once you get over that, they try to help you make a plan, make a budget, set specific goals, and then focus on getting done. And they say it is a lot of work, but of course, it's worth it.
But watching your piece reminded me of how much money I waste buying dinner every night. If I would just bring my lunch like Kurt does every day,
well, the key they say is looking closely at what you spend and then deciding which parts of that you can change. And they say it's not really like being on a diet, but a sort of changing your eating habits overall.
Good way to think about it.
Yes. That's right.
Carrie, thanks. If you need help, give I-Team 12 a call at any time at 736-0412, or you can email us at iteam12@kptv.com.
The Supreme Court is considering whether the Americans with Disabilities Act covers professional athletes. Oregon golfer Casey Martin needs a golf cart to get around the course. But as KPTV's Chris Murphy found out, many golfers in our area say if Martin wants to play, he must play by the rules.
Casey Martin.
Thank you very much.
He rides in a golf cart, strictly against the rules of the Professional Golf Association, but Martin sued the PGA Tour and won the right to ride under the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Civil rights laws are about making the playing field level, and this is just a perfect example of somebody who wants to have a level playing field.
But many of the golfers we talked to today around town say using a cart definitely gives the golfer an advantage. Although they sympathize with Casey Martin's uphill battle, you could say. They say in PGA tournaments, when you typically have to play 4 days in a row, 18 holes each day, that's when stamina becomes a very big part of the game.
We played 18 yesterday, and we were just talking about renting a cart, so I think it's an advantage.
If you're going to let the one fellow ride the carts, you're going to have to let them all ride carts.
Because it's unfair.
It's unfair otherwise.
Martin was born with a rare circulatory disorder. His brittle right leg is getting weaker and may need to be amputated.
How could we adjust for every sport just for handicaps? I think there maybe should be a game for the handicaps like the Special Olympics.
He's got enough handicaps as it is. The sports associations ought to be able to make their own rules. But I don't know why they don't decide to let him play.
Now it's up to the U.S. Supreme Court to make that decision. A decision more about the rules of society than the rules of golf. Chris Murphy, the 10 o'clock news.
The PGA allows carts only on the senior tour, reserved for players 50 and older. So what do you think? Should Casey Martin be allowed to use a golf cart on the PGA Tour? That's our 12 Talkback online poll question. Log on to our website, Oregons12.com. We'll have results on tomorrow's 10 o'clock news.
Last year, Brian Grant was a Blazer fan favorite. Tonight, he wore the black uniform of the enemy.
Yep, Brian Grant returned to Portland for the first time since his trade to Miami last summer, and Dan Christopherson is here to show us if it was a happy homecoming for Brian and his new team, the Heat.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was more like a bad trip for Brian and his Miami Heat. You know, it looked all year, it has looked like the Heat got the better end of that deal that sent Sean Kemp here to Portland in the Brian Grant deal, but the Blazers clearly have the best team going right now, and tonight Grant got to admire that team from the other side. Yep, still a fan favorite, but that's about as welcome as Miami's going to feel all night. Grant did slam the score tied there at 8 apiece, but from that point on, the only heat is coming off the fingertips of one Bonzi Wells. The steal, the hoop, and the harm. That capped a 7-0 all Bonzi run, but the guy is just catching heat. Look at that off the alley-oop from Damon Stoudemire. Bonzi outscores the Heat by himself in the first quarter, 13-10. This follow hammer made it 27-10 all Blazers after one quarter. Heat get within 10 by the half, but in the third quarter, Damon Stoudemire making sure they don't catch up as he feeds Rashid right there. And look at Eddie Jones. This is about the closest Miami could get inside in the second half. The Blazers own the middle, but Damon and the crew own the game. He pulls up for a jumper. He scored 8 in the quarter of the third. And this one is over when Bonzi says it is over right there. Portland's biggest cushion of the night was 22, and the final margin is 11, 85-74, as Wells rides that first quarter outburst to a double-double, 22 points and 10 rebounds. Grant did get his minutes. He got 39, but only 8 points in a hopeless Miami outing. Hey, at least the fans made him feel right back at home.
Thank you, Portland. I appreciated that. Unfortunately, I didn't get what I really came to get, and that was the W, but I thank you for that. It made it a special night, even though I'm sitting here with a very bad performance at hand.
He said it right to the camera there. Grant says he is glad now that his one trip to Portland this season is behind him, because it's a lot of pressure coming back here. Blazers, meantime, are halfway through the regular season. They've played 41 games. You play 82, so they're right in the middle. They have a 30-11 record, which is, of course, best in the Western Conference.
You know, we were talking how difficult it must be to come back and play your old teammates.
That's right. Yeah, it really is. And, you know, he said he felt that pressure, but he felt the fans' love, too. And they really still appreciate him for everything he did when he was here for 3 years.
Thanks, Dan. Well, coming up, meteorologist Rod Hill will let you know if the rain will still be around for tomorrow morning's commute. That's coming up in his pinpoint forecast.
And caught on tape, a big rig swerving through traffic, chased by police. That's at 10:48.
Plus, an explosive situation, geysers of pure gas. We'll see them at 10:49.
Tomorrow night at 10, the power crisis gripping California right now could happen all over the United States. A look at what national power deregulation might do tomorrow on the 10 o'clock news.
Government camp at 33, snow level below pass levels at about 3,500 feet. On the other side of the mountains, the snow will be in the morning and then decreases and ends in the afternoon. Bend becoming partly sunny at 39 degrees, Burns 35. Most areas looking for just 1 to 2 inches of possible snow. And again, there could be some freezing rain in places like LeGrand mixing in, also in Pendleton with a high tomorrow of about 35. The Dow's expecting some ice and some snow, especially in the morning, then up to about 40 and becoming dry. Cascade Lock, some rain showers and about 45. Should be raining in the morning, about 40 degrees in Portland, and then we'll break into a 60% chance of showers and decreasing the rest of the day. Highs in the mid-40s. 7-day forecast. Saturday starts off dry, and then later in the day we'll look for the chance of some rain. That chance building into Saturday night and Sunday morning, and then just some weak systems. Monday we could see some showers. Stronger system perhaps on Tuesday, and then Wednesday and Thursday dry. You know, I went to Phoenix last year and it rained and it was cold and it was only 57.
Serves you right.
He wants to go golf. That's what you get. Thanks, Rod.
I guess so. Have a good weekend, you guys.
In tonight's HealthCast, epileptic.